remember the exact moment it all started to unravel. The day I came home from work, exhausted after a double shift at the hospital, and found my mother in law, Margaret, in our kitchen, rearranging the cabinets. Anna, dear, she said with that saccharine smile that never reached her eyes, I've been telling Tom for years that you need to organize better. No wonder he's always so stressed. Tom was right there, nodding along like a puppet, not even glancing up from his phone. I bit my tongue, forced a laugh, but inside, my chest tightened with that familiar knot of resentment. That was 6 months ago. And now? Now, I'm sitting alone in our guest room, staring at divorce papers I printed out last night, wondering how one woman's words could poison everything I held dear. It wasn't always like this. When Tom and I got married 5 years ago, Margaret seemed harmless, a typical overbearing mom who baked pies and fussed over her only son. But the criticisms crept in slowly, like weeds in a garden you don't notice until they've choked everything out. At first, it was little things. Anna, you work too much. No time for a proper home cooked meal? Or, during family dinners, Tom always loved my lasagna. Yours is different. I'd smile through it, tell myself she meant well. But Tom started echoing her. Mom's right, Anna. Maybe you could try her recipe? I'd feel this pang of inadequacy, like I was failing at being the wife he deserved. We were trying for a baby back then, and every negative pregnancy test felt like another strike against me. Margaret would pat my hand and say, Don't worry, dear. Some women just aren't cut out for motherhood right away. Her words stung, planting seeds of doubt that grew into full-blown guilt. Was I not enough? Was that why Tom was pulling away? The tension built with every visit. Margaret lived just across town, so she dropped by unannounced. 3, 4 times a week. She'd comment on the dust on the shelves, the way I folded laundry, even how I parented our dog, as if that was practice for the child we couldn't conceive. Tom needs a stable home, Anna. He's under so much pressure at work. I'd confide in Tom at night, whispering in the dark, Your mom is driving me crazy. Can't you talk to her? He'd sigh, roll over, and mumble, She's just trying to help. You're overreacting. Overreacting? I felt like I was losing my mind, trapped in this cycle of criticism that made me question every decision. My friends noticed. I stopped inviting them over, embarrassed by the inevitable isolation set in. And with it, a deep-seated fear that if I pushed back, I'd lose Tom too. Then came the first twist, the one that shattered my illusions. It was our anniversary weekend. I'd planned a surprise getaway, a cozy cabin upstate, just us, to reconnect. But the night before, Margaret called Tom in tears, claiming her boiler had broken and she was freezing to death. He insisted we cancel. Family comes first, right? I argued. God, did I argue. But he went to her house anyway, leaving me alone with a bottle of wine and unpacked suitcases. That night, scrolling through my phone in a haze of hurt, I saw it. A text notification on his laptop, which he'd left open. It was from his coworker, Sarah. Missed you today. Can't wait for tomorrow, XO. My heart stopped. I clicked through, hands shaking, and found months of messages, flirty at first, then intimate. Photos. Plans to meet. Tom had been having an affair right under my nose, while I was blaming his distance on work stress and his mother's meddling. The betrayal hit like a freight train. Confusion swirled. How long? Why her? But as I pieced it together, the guilt crashed in waves. Had I driven him away with my constant complaints about Margaret? Or was it her, whispering in his ear, making him see me as the problem? I confronted him when he got home at dawn, smelling faintly of perfume that wasn't mine. How could you? I screamed, tears streaming. He broke down, admitted it started 3 months ago, during one of those family emergencies at his mom's, but he swore it was a mistake, begged for forgiveness. Mom said you were too focused on your career, that I deserved someone who puts me first. There it was, Margaret's fingerprints all over it. She'd been fueling his doubts, just like she'd fueled mine. I felt a mix of rage and heartbreak, like my whole world was a lie built on her manipulations. We tried therapy after that. I insisted. No more unannounced visits from Margaret, boundaries set in stone. For a while, it seemed to work. Tom cut back on seeing her, focused on us. We even started fertility treatments, clinging to the hope of a family as our glue. But the second twist came like a dagger in the back, twisting deeper than the first. One evening, I overheard Tom on the phone in the garage. Mom, I can't keep lying. Anna found out about Sarah. My blood ran cold. I listened frozen as Margaret's voice crackled through the speaker. I told you to be careful, son. That girl's no good for you. Remember how I covered for you those nights? If she leaves, good riddance. You can come home to me. Covered for him? It all clicked. The fake emergencies, the late nights helping mom. She'd known about the affair all along, enabled it, maybe even encouraged it to pull him back under her wing. The woman I'd tried so hard to please had been sabotaging my marriage from the start, out of some twisted possessiveness over her son. That revelation broke me. Fear gripped me. What if this was who Tom really was? A man who let his mother dictate his life? Guilt gnawed too. Should I have seen it sooner? Fought harder? Heartbreak overwhelmed everything, a deep ache for the life we dreamed of. A home, kids, growing old together. I stormed into the garage, phone in hand, and played back the recording I'd started on impulse. Tom's face went white. Anna? I didn't know she knew everything, he stammered. But it was too late. The climax hit that night in a whirlwind of shouts and sobs. I accused him of betrayal, of choosing her over us. He defended her at first. She's my mom. Then crumbled, admitting he'd always been weak against her influence. Margaret arrived minutes later, as if summoned by some maternal radar, banging on the door. Let me in! This is all your fault, Anna. You're tearing my family apart. I locked her out, but the damage was done. Tom left with her that night, saying he needed space. Space from me, his wife, but not from the woman who'd orchestrated our downfall. Now, weeks later, the house echoes with silence. I've taken time off work, staring at walls that feel foreign, replaying every criticism, every sidelong glance. The fertility treatments are on hold. How can I bring a child into this mess? I feel confused about what love even means anymore. Was ours ever real, or just a facade cracked by one toxic force? Fear lingers that I'll end up alone, starting over in my mid-30s. Guilt whispers that maybe I should have tried harder to win Margaret over, or left sooner before the scars ran so deep. But mostly it's heartbreak. A quiet, bone-deep sorrow for the man I thought I knew, the future we lost. Sitting here, reflecting on it all, I realize how insidious family conflicts can be. How they seep into every crack until nothing holds. I've filed for divorce, but part of me wonders if there's salvage left. If you were me, what would you do? Would you fight for the marriage, cut ties with his family forever, or walk away and rebuild alone? I need advice. Please share your thoughts below.